All right, so here I've got a session, and you can see I've got some audio and some video along with it. Let me just start off by playing it so you can see what we're starting with. All right, so for anybody who recognizes that melody, that's from the middle of the Jupiter Movement of Whole Planet Suite, which melody's been used for a lot of other different things. And I specifically did this on a fretless instrument that has a bad neck, and I did it one time. So I didn't want to perfect it, didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to get a good emotional, hopefully, performance. Now, the first thing I'm going to do in this workflow that shows this feature I'm going to get to eventually is this new feature that we've got in Pro Tools that converts audio to MIDI. And the way I do it, super easy, is I'm going to drag this audio clip down onto a MIDI track, and it's going to give me the audio MIDI properties, and there are a number of different ways that I can go, but I'm just going to go with automatic just to make things really simple and just to show you how good this is out of the box. So here I go, click OK. Great. Now, let's listen to both of them together because I want to show you how good this tracks. So it's really not too bad. There are a couple little oops notes in there, which is not unusual with a neck that buzzes and with a neck that's fretless, so the pitch is going to be off a little bit, but it really does about 90% of your transcription work for you right there. Now, what I'll do, just because I want to make it a little bit more smooth for this demonstration, is I have cleaned it up. So I've got on a different playlist. This is the cleaned up version. I haven't changed the timings. I just deleted a couple of errant notes. Now, I want to change this into a cello part. And so what I've got here is I've got a cello, and I'm just going to go ahead and drag this down to this track over here. All right. Now I'll make these other tracks. I'll just mute these guys and I'll solo this. And this just happens to be using the East-West library, which I use a lot for my string work. So let's see what it sounds like just out of the box. Okay, well that sounds pretty good, and actually the patch has some nice vibrato in it already. But what I want to do is I want to add a little bit of a continuous controller number 11, which is called expression. And I want to use a different kind of controller for it. So I'm going to use this thing. I'll show it to you right here. It's called a Theremini by Moog. And it's a fun little controller. If you have enough money to pick one up, it's really fun to play with. And it's also can be very expressive. You control it with gestures from your hands. Really great for what I'm about to do. And so what I want to do is I want to use this controller to add MIDI Continuous Controller 11 and only that. Right? This controller can create note data, pitch bend, a whole bunch of things. But the only thing I want to record is going to be that controller number 11. Here's how I filter out everything else. I'm going to go to Setup, MIDI, MIDI Input Filter. And what we see here could possibly be the problem that the person asking the question is having, because it's possible that this has been set to only and nothing set. And if that's happening, then even though MIDI is connected correctly, nothing would actually be recorded. Okay, so this will allow you to not accept MIDI data for certain parameters, right? And so this could be the problem this person's having. But even if it's not, it's a great feature to be able to use and to understand. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to only allow a certain controller in, and I'm going to go to one of my controllers, doesn't matter which one, and I'll go in here and I can see from the list I don't have MIDI continuous controller number 11, so I'm going to add it. Boom. I'll go over here, expression, add, okay. Now if I go to any of these drop downs, I can choose expression number 11. I check this box. Now, the way you're looking at the screen right now, my controller could be sending out all kinds of data, but the only data that's going to be recorded is going to be expression, which is at MIDI controller 11. I click OK. The second thing I want to make sure I do is I want to make sure that MIDI Merge, which is up here in my MIDI cluster, is on. And what that's going to allow me to do is keep the MIDI data that's here, and it's going to add other MIDI data on top of it. And in this case, it's only going to add that MIDI continuous controller number 11. Now, what I'll do is I'll do a live pass with my Theremini, and let's see if I can't put a little bit of nuance into this performance. And now what I've done is I've added that on top. And if I play it back, you're going to be able to see that I've got a little bit of continuous controller 11, adding a little bit of very subtle dynamics onto this performance.